Having a job is good for our health. Bear with me for a second. And that was from Duncan Selby, the Chief Executive for Public Health England. But the reason is we spend a third of our life in the workplace. And whilst we do recognise work as a place to earn money, to make friendships, to develop our skills, we may not fully realise its importance. The workplace can also be a place of respite. It can be a place of intellectual conversation and connection, a place to grow and develop using tools and opportunities that may not be available to individuals, and a place of escapism, sometimes a complete escape from a very different life. In the informal chats that I have had the privilege of being privy to, I have heard parents speak of work as the place where I get adult conversation, the place where I'm no longer the label of mum or dad. I've heard people say, I've changed my life thanks to a job, and I'm never going back there. And I've also heard people embrace the opportunity of the tools and technologies that aren't available to them otherwise. Someone has said, well, what I love about working here is I want something to be done and it gets done immediately. And with that potential impact, spoken and unspoken, that work has on our lives, it becomes all the more important that organisations actively contribute to the health and well-being of their teams. The well-being industry has boomed in the workplace. Following COVID, according to an HR review, companies were spending an average of £150 per employee per year on well-being, with some companies making that total up to £2,000 per employee, with a pledge to spend 35% more in the next few years. A 2023 market analysis report found that, and I quote, the global corporate wellness market size was valued $53 billion in 2022. And it's due to expand at a compound annual growth rate of 4.47% from 2023 to 2030. Many businesses and enterprises in various industry verticals have started implementing health programs to their employees, and that will boost market demand. And this is because the cost of not attending to well-being is just as high. In 2022, a survey from Deloitte revealed that the cost to employers for poor mental health has increased up to £56 billion in 2020 to 2021, and that was during the pandemic, compared to $45 billion in 2019. And it's not just the financial impact of the sick day that matters, but poor mental and emotional health affects productivity, it affects morale, it affects recruitment and retention, and it is often contagious. So recent research findings have found and include support for mental and emotional health ranks top of 9 key aspects of health and well-being, and that's research from Dr. Lauren Howe in 2023. And underneath mental and emotional health comes financial well-being. In a literature review that Dr. Howe did of Fortune 500 companies, she found that 84% of organizations use the word health on their website. Executive coach Leonardus Alexandrou outlines the importance of well-being for Gen Z in particular, and that is key to organizational sustainability. And this is because the number of upheavals that Gen Z have experienced is higher than we really think about. It's not just the pandemic, but the war and the cost of living crisis, but also their smartphone has become their normal means of day-to-day living. And that means that immediacy rather than perseverance has been the thing that is rewarded. So because Gen Z are part of our upcoming workforce, this is incredibly important to look at. However, what is also notable are the changes that are taking place in the world of well-being. Hawk Score, H-A-W-Q, Hawk Score, created by Robbie Johnston, gives teams a credit score of health and well-being, the health and well-being quotient. And this collects data from organizations as to what people need, and then the organization can see what key aspects to focus on. Because too often, the complaint from senior leaders is, we have all of these well-being initiatives, but no one wants to use them. Okay, that's fine, but if the offerings are not fit for purpose, if they aren't accessible, or if they aren't appropriate to the individual, it is not a case of more meaning more. But interestingly, a new intervention, workations, are on the rise. And I love this. This is where taking a break from the place of work, not from the work itself, is actually improving retention. And this can improve happiness and productivity as well. And examples of this include employees taking a longer vacation and combining it with staying at work, but also in the place where they're having a really lovely time. And some organizations are even going so far as to arranging resorts and retreats where their workers can combine their workplace with a holiday. And that also has improved retention. People are less likely to leave, and that's research from Anthrolytics in 2023. So ways to engage, support, and motivate are getting more and more innovative, and perhaps they are fitting better into our day-to-day life. But they also need to be relevant to the individual. In 2024, and bear in mind, we are only a few weeks in, the Telegraph did a survey and found that 42% of people are overwhelmed by the amount of well-being advice out there. And even in the field, people like myself, we are finding that the academic and therapeutic benefits of our interventions are being diluted by the latest brain training app or TikTok trend. And this is concerning. You only need to listen to the popularity of the words bed rot, if you remember that. That was a trending word, and goblin mode, instead of what we used to call a duvet day or a self-care day or setting boundaries. That gives you an indication of where public opinion is actually going. Interventions need to be meaningful. So the Future of Work paper explores the evolution of wellness trends within the workplace. It highlights key aspects such as the importance of the hybrid work environment, which we are now embedding into our day-to-day life, and with it the need for remote tools and opportunities to be the same as coming into work, but similarly, when somebody makes the commute into work, the environment needs to be just as productive and positive as staying at home. Also, a structured office-based environment for new starters is important to get them feeling and fully immersed in the company culture, understanding values, understanding perseverance, understanding the way things work. And also, team members who attend, who come in, who make that journey, they really do need to feel that they are being taken care of in the workplace as well. The paper recognises that a mentally healthy and emotionally fit workforce demonstrates greater productivity and higher levels of retention and performance. And the paper addresses many ways that organisations can do this. And just a few examples. A focus on inclusivity rather than diversity alone. Again, you can see the change in the words that we're using. Because if we don't focus on inclusivity, there is no point inviting me to the table if you're not going to listen. That's what you end up having. You get a tick box, we've got a diverse team, but we're not learning from them, and we are missing out on an opportunity. So that inclusivity extends beyond observation of religious festivals, observation of dietary needs, right back to the point of recruitment. Another point is fostering a sense of culture and community within the workplace, but that is accessible to those working from home. And that is where you get a lot of technology. Apps provide connectivity in a slightly sexier way than the intranet used to. And there are many ways that people are building on that through using forums and chats and status updates within that company app. They often use this for training and well-being, but the structure of the office can do much of the same thing. And then another point is meaningful recognition, appreciation, and perks. Free meals, discount cards, flexible working, and interpersonal support is important, not just lunchtime yoga. Those are some of the points addressed, but most importantly is the blend of the individual approaches to health and well-being and the systemic and practical change. Where there are mental health concerns, it is the individual incentives that are often stepped up. I know this because that's when organisations call me in to deliver stress-busting workshops and techniques and tools. But sometimes, probably more often than not, it's about changing the context that caused the problem in the first place. Let's, for example, take a practical health and safety approach to well-being. If I were to fall down a hole, you don't give me lessons in how to get out of the hole or to walk around the hole. You fix the hole. That's the same thing if someone is experiencing burnout. Let's not just put it onto the individual, but rather let's make the systemic change to avoid the ill health in the first place. And that's what the white paper is looking to do. Put forward practical and systemic solutions as well in parallel as personal and individual demands. So, technological, practical, personal, and systemic solutions are key, with the future of work being shaped from the top down by leaders as well as addressing from the bottom up the needs of the individual. And that's why it's such a pleasure to be here today at an event like this. Thank you very much.